Thank you. Thank you so much, Comrade Atomuchua and the team. My name is Ngarbuh, aka Babariko. I'm the chairman of the Southern Cameroons Associations Germany. And before we go ahead, I would like to really dish out my appreciation to you guys for the great work that you have been doing on the town hall, putting our revolution on track, your consistency, and many other things. So, and we also have an honor. It's an honor for us also to be here today to share with you this presentation. Before we go ahead, also, I think I would like also to throw our revolutionary greetings to our people on ground zero. As you rightly mentioned, they are the focus of our revolution and they bear that burden that of the oppressor. So I want to thank them so much for the great work, for the resistance, for the endurance that they put up, right from the beginning to this stage, and we encourage them to keep on to reach our destination. Before we move into our presentation, I would just like to mention that SCA-Germany is an umbrella organization. It consists of two registered organizations, the Southern Cameroons Community Germany, Bayern, which is based in the state of Bavaria, and the Amazonian Community Germany, Baden-Württemberg, which is based in the state of Baden-Württemberg. So these two registered organizations came together after a SWOT analysis that was made in the year 2020 during the corona pandemic, and they set a way forward on which ACA has been moving now steadily and doing a lot of great work. So it would be good to mention that. And what we do in SCA is we promote the Southern Cameroons. We make it known to those who don't know about Southern Cameroons. We advocate for the people of Southern Cameroons, and we do not pay allegiance to any movement, any group, or any government. Our focus is on the people of Southern Cameroons. As you can see, we have three pillars. It's about unity, humanity, and advocacy. And under humanity, we offer assistance to those who are extremely in need of it. And so far, we have done great in that. So I just wish to mention that so that some people who are here, maybe they don't know about ACA, they don't have an idea of what ACA is about. So today we are here today, as you already mentioned, to present again the presentation that we did on the 14th of February on Zoom. So we are thankful to be here on this platform. I'm here with my team. We are here with Mrs. Colette Coty, who is going to make a presentation focused on the Ngarbuh and also touch the other genocides, as you already mentioned too in the beginning, that Ngarbuh is not the only case. We have so many that we really have in mind. But what we did as ACA is just take one and then highlight the others. So, but before we go to Colette, we start, the rundown is we have an intro in the beginning, opening the presentation officially, and then Dr. Mofo is going to talk about the precursors of the genocide. After that, it will be followed by Mrs. Colette Coty, who is going to talk about Ngarbuh, give some statistics about Ngarbuh massacre, and then touch on the other massacres that we have in Amazonia. When Mrs. Colette will be through with her presentation, we are going to have an interlude. And after that, will be followed by a presentation from Chibasaba, who is here, who will touch on the importance of commemorating and remembrance. After his presentation, we will touch a bit on the causes, and we will end our presentation with another interlude or with a song. Then we can give some room for interaction. So that's just a rundown of the program. So just permit me, before we kick off, let me just share this piece as an introduction into our presentation. I think I will need to have the right to share, please. I see that the host disabled participant on sharing. So let me have the right so I can share this piece.
Sorry, I thought they gave you the right already. Let me see if I can do that. Secretariat, are you there? Let me just 1 second. Let me reach him. He just.
Okay.
I apologize. Just 1 second.
So I see quite a few number of people are.
Hey.
What we
Yeah.
missing?
Atto.
What we missing?
Yeah.
I think Apere and then I think Dr. Mofo and are all co-hosts. And I think you're either one of them. Francis, are you the host? Are you the host or
I'm one
is
of the
Herman?
hosts. I'm one of the hosts. But who are we missing? There's one person we're missing that we need to make co-host.
Yeah, that is Comrade Nda Achu, aka Babarake.
That's fine. I have taken the host rights. I'm going to make him co-host.
Okay.
Why is it Nda Achu? Okay, I see him here. Just bear with me.
Yeah, I guess your name was too long, so I forgot.
Okay. You're fine. I've given you the.
All right.
You're now co-host.
Okay,
All right.
thanks. So. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. Now, we are going now to listen to our first speaker. He is Dr. Shemufo. His presentation is going to be based on the precursors of genocide. As we all know, all what is happening to us in the Southern Cameroons and Amazonia didn't just start from one day. It's something that has been accumulating for a long time. And now it has come to the point where our people are being slaughtered like animals. So he's going to give us a view of where it started and how it came to where we find ourselves now. So I will hand the mic over to Dr. Mofo. Go ahead, please.
About the call, you have the slides?
Yes.
Okay, please share the slides.
Okay.
Thank you. So good evening, good afternoon, fellow Southern Cameroonians, fellow Ambazonians. Good afternoon, good evening to our listeners and all sympathizers of the Southern Cameroon struggle, of the Ambazonian struggle. Dear comrades, I'll be talking to you this evening and also to those who are listening to us, who are our enablers, and those who are agents of our oppressor. I'll be talking to you about precursors of genocide and how they relate with our own situation. What is a precursor? A precursor is something that comes before another and may lead to it or influence its development. So what are the things that come before a genocide? I also call them characteristics of genocide. And this is what I'll be talking to you in a few moments about. Today and in this month of February, that we commemorate the killing of at least, I say at least 21 civilians, amongst which were at least 14 children in Ngarbuh. So Ngarbuh constitutes two quarters, Nga and Mabu in Tumbo village in Donga Mantung. We will also use this example to remember tens of thousands of Southern Cameroonians who have lost their lives simply because of who they were. They were Southern Cameroonians, otherwise called Ambazonians. They spoke English and upheld their way of life, just like every other Southern Cameroonian. I would like to share with you a very small part of my experience while trying to understand the Rwandan genocide. The picture which you see here shows my first visit at the Kigali Genocide Memorial, late 2021, where about 250,000 Rwandans are buried in mass graves. I came across this large picture, which you see in the middle, of a child that was killed. And I saw pictures and reports of uncountable thousands of children who were slaughtered simply because they were Tutsi. And also millions of children who lost their parents. My own close friend lost every relative. He was 7 years old at the time, and he survived because his sister, who was carrying him, had been killed, and the perpetrators of the genocide thought he too was already dead. Then I read a story in a book which I bought in that memorial. The book is written by Linda Mervyn. The book is called A People Betrayed, the Role of the West in Rwandan Genocide. In that story, a member of the Interahamwe militia, so this is a militia that was prepared by the government at the time to execute the genocidal plan by simply executing Tutsi. So this lady who was a member of this Interahamwe saw a baby that had just been given birth to by a Tutsi woman while they sought refuge in a camp. And the lady said, oh, she has given birth to another Inyenzi. Inyenzi means, in the local language in Rwanda called Kinyarwanda, Inyenzi means cockroach. And so this militia woman said, oh, she has given birth to another cockroach. And this militia lady went on to kill this baby. The mother of the baby and thousands of Tutsi men and women in that area were also killed. It was a systematic plan to exterminate a people just because they are who they are, or just because they were who they were. Then I remembered how Southern Cameroonians have been called dogs, cockroaches. It is about dehumanization, how we have been dehumanized. There is no way I could manage to go through the Kigali Genocide Memorial without shedding tears, even when I went there for the second time. Each time I try to understand what happened in Rwanda, I see similar things happening in the Southern Cameroons, in Ambazonia. As I knelt down there on those mass graves, my tears ran down on my face as I thought of the killings in Ngarbuh, in Kumba, in Kwakwa, in Pinyin, in Bali, and many others that you know. A genocide starts with the killing of just one because of who he is. A lot of genocide-related activities, including killings, went on in Rwanda before the 7th of April 1994, when the mass systematic murder of Tutsi was finally unleashed. And so when we look at our own situation, we see a lot of parallels. And that is why I will move to the next slide, Babariko. Let us talk about established precursors of genocide, which is the main topic for this presentation. You can see on the right, I have listed 10 established precursors of genocides. It starts with classification. It goes to symbolization, goes to discrimination, dehumanization, organization, polarization, preparation, persecution, extermination, and denial. For time constraints, I will not elaborate on all of them because they really relate to our case, but I'll talk about a few of them. Let's start with classification. People are divided into them and us. Les anglophones, les nozos, les ambazoniens, les biafrais, et nous. Dehumanization. One group denies the humanity of the other group. Members of it are equated with animals, with insects, or even diseases. Ambazonians have been called dogs, cockroaches, and many other names. Organization. Genocide is always organized. Special army units or militias are often trained and armed. In our own context, when trained soldiers, paramilitary like the bees, together with militias, sometimes the Mbororo, whom they prepare, as in the case of Ngarbuh and many others, when they go about targeting and killing civilians for just no reason, besides that they are Southern Cameroonians. And the question I ask is, are they doing the same thing in French Cameroon? It is organized murder. Polarization. Extremists drive the groups apart. Leaders are arrested and murdered. Laws erode fundamental civil rights and liberties. If we look at the Southern Cameroons, it is a lawless place. And the laws that even should govern any normal society are not valid for our people. Our people are killed, they are slaughtered every day, every time, and nothing happens. Uncountable have died in jails just because they stood for the rights of their people. These are the leaders. And even those who were just standing there, picked, arrested, killed, just because they're Southern Cameroonians. Many have been murdered, even senators who are of Southern Cameroon's history. Fons, recently, a Fon and his wife were just murdered just because they speak for their people and they are targeted. persecution. So there is expropriation, forced displacement. You find victims of genocide in ghettos, in concentration camps. Go to Nigeria, go to other places. We saw cases where those in authority, so-called divisional officers, will issue letters asking villagers to leave or be killed. Many villages deserted, more than 1 million displaced, and large populations of our people find themselves in concentration camps, in quasi-ghettos and ghettos in neighboring Nigeria. And many, many are in exile in other countries. Extermination. It is extermination to the killers because they do not believe their victims to be fully human. They are either subhumans or something less than subhumans. They are cockroaches, they are dogs. And so just driving around and killing them, setting entire villages aflame and burning down entire families means nothing to them. The mission is just to quench all of these people because they are not even humans. And the other part, the other precursor of genocide, which is a typical genocide characteristics, is denial. The perpetrators deny that they committed any crimes because they are strongly convinced that what they are doing is correct and is not even a crime. Those who committed the Ngarbuh Massacre refused. Those who committed the Ngarbuh Massacre, they also refused. Kwakwa, they refused. Bali, they refused. Everyone, they refused. In the case of Ngarbuh, they were forced to accept because there was no way, the evidence was so clear. Look at these pictures here. A child standing there in the remnants, the rest of a burnt home, and not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do in the next moment. And the others who are just standing there, and they don't even know if they will live tomorrow, because as they are quasi-victims of the genocidal mission. So dear friends, the world said after Rwanda, never again should such a thing happen. Yet the world is watching as human beings are slaughtered in the Southern Cameroons, and the government rejecting every opportunity to seek lasting solution to the conflict. And so it's a call for all of us, also to the rest of the world who keep watching and doing nothing, that we must keep our eyes open for all these precursors. When we see them, we should learn to identify them. For all these precursors in the Southern Cameroons, and we have to stop them now so that you do not regret later, as in the case of Rwanda, where the rest of the world regretted, including the West particularly, because they refused to accept and recognize that it was a genocide going on until more than 1 million people had been slaughtered within 3 months. Stand up against genocide and let all the victims of this genocidal mission in Amazonia rest in power, of course, and in peace, until their blood would end up liberating the homeland. Thanks for your attention.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Mofo, for that presentation. It's quite very true. We've seen the parallels between the genocide in Rwanda and what is actually going on in the Southern Cameroons. So that awareness is something that we are not supposed to turn away from it. And the responsibility is in our own hands to make sure that we prevent such things, such heinous crimes from continuing. So we'll move straight on to the next speaker, who will also make her presentation. Is going to be based on the Ngarbuh Massacre itself, and then relating it to the other massacres that comprise the genocide in Southern Cameroons. So I would hand over the mic to our sister, Mrs. Colette Coty. So may you go ahead, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. It is an honor for us to deliberate together with you on the Ngarbuh Massacre. The solid foundation of humanity is love. If we have love in our hearts, we'll treat other humans with compassion, empathy, and equality. I don't really have a presentation, but I have some things I've just scribbled down, which I'm going to read out to you. I titled my talk for today, In the Valley of Ngarbuh. Due to time constraints, I'm not going to be very, read it the way I would have loved to. I'll be a bit faster because some of the writings have already been, Dr. Mofo has already spoken about the precursors, why our people were killed. So, on the 14th of February, 2020, Saint Valentine, the love saint, was absent in Ngarbuh. Somewhat overpowered by the forces of evil that prevailed and triumphed as bad men combined and overcame goodness, and also because of the silence of good people. In the Valley of Ngarbuh, where the sun sets very early, transpired one of the most heinous crimes perpetrated by the Cameroonian government and Fulani militia on our people, known as the Ngarbuh Massacre. Here are victims of the Ngarbuh Massacre. We are naming and honoring their memories because if we forget them, it's a greater calamity. Because a calamity happened, but the greatest would be to forget about them. We have to remember them, never to forget. Because their blood will water the ground for our freedom and liberation from the shackles of the oppressor. Our people deprived of their rights to existence because of who they are. These innocent souls, vulnerable, poor, uneducated, and less powerful, were exterminated in the most brutal manner. I don't know about you, but I cannot bring myself to watch those videos or the pictures. It breaks my heart so much. Our people were considered as subhumans. They were dehumanized and killed like animals. The military and militia saw themselves as untouchable and acted with impunity. And this has been the modus operandi for decades on our people. So the total number killed, because most of our people were not only killed, they were burnt. So we will never have the exact number of our people who died, but the total number as provided by the chairman was 35, 15 of them were children. And the sad thing, we had an 8 months pregnant woman, Asana. She and her unborn baby were killed. A breastfeeding mother at 5 o'clock in the morning while breastfeeding her infant was killed together with the infant in her arms. So here are the names of some of the victims. Several families were eradicated from the face of our fallen world. While life continued like nothing happened, these people were eradicated, exterminated. So we have the Sika family, 7 of them died. We have Ibrahim, 45, Asana, the 8 months pregnant woman. We have Amsa, 9 years old, Alima, 7 years old, Yamsi, 6 years old, Yasimaratu, 12 years old, Soliatu, 5 years old. We have Kwachiri Gladys and her whole family. 8 of them were exterminated. Gladys herself, Diana 15, Median 13, Jude 9, Tracy 5, Cynthia 6, Angel 4, Berigno 5 months old, Janet Yah 45 years, Ringnule 43 years old. The family of Pa Abdullahi Sunjo was also exterminated. Pa himself 80 years old, Mama Shetu 30 years old. The family of Pa Alidu Mba himself 75 years old, Kinyu 60 years old, Mubela 7 years old. These atrocities were not limited to human lives. Like I said, we don't have the names of all the victims because some of them were not only killed, they were burnt. 13 houses were razed to the ground. 4 neighborhoods were displaced. Ngarbuh, Bu, Firu, Amban. It's very heart-wrenching. It's despicable, unimaginable, and beyond comprehension, the extent of barbarism that humans can extend on other humans. We remember other victims also killed with same impunity in several massacres across Southern Cameroon. The massacre of Pinin, of Bali, of Boya, of Ekona, Tiko, Kwakwa, Tiben, Bafut, Kumba, Ekondo Titi. These were also children, our children killed in cold blood. And La République has never, on the first day the Ngarbuh massacre happened, La République said it was Ambazonians who had done that. They would never, it's denial. It's always a denial. And all these other massacres, they have not been able to stand up to their atrocities. It is only through pressure, and that pressure must continue so that our people will be remembered and justice will be served. We remember also other barbaric killings of our people like Mami Api, Tom Sawyer, Bebe Mata, Louise Ndiale, Tato Brandy, and many others. As a mother, a sister, a daughter, we ask ourselves daily, when will these all come to an end? Who is coming to our rescue? The sad reality is nobody. Nobody's coming to our rescue because we are our own rescue. Left to dig graves, bury our children and husbands, while the world moves on like nothing is happening. The pain of a mother. It takes months to endure pregnancy, to bring to forth that bundle of joy. And the oppressor uses seconds to end those lives. Many don't care about our grief. They can even bury us, the bereaved. But we are left with everlasting scars, nightmares, and the horror of the death of our children, husbands, fathers, and brothers. Even the wailing, screaming, and grunting from excruciating pains by our people could not evoke compassion, empathy, and mercy from the invaders. Our people were gruesomely massacred. There is no name for grieving mothers because the term would denote hell on earth. Justice has not been served. We are not at peace, but we rest assured that the act of the moral universe will bend towards justice, no matter how long it takes. The sun will one day rise on Ngarbuh, never to set again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcolette, for that presentation. We know it's not easy. It's really hard, as a mother to sit and even read the names of all her slain children. We can really understand the pain, the agony that our mothers do endure, losing their loved ones, losing their children, losing their husbands, being compelled to dig graves. The pain is just too much. And while doing all this, we realize that the world is silent. That is just telling us that we are just us. We have to do it by ourselves. We are left alone. It's only by doing this that we give value to our people. Our people are not dogs. Our people are not chickens. We know how valuable they are to us. May their souls rest in power. Thank you so much. To crown that presentation, we are going to share another interlude with you. I would advise that it should be viewers' discretion should be advised, because maybe some of the images cannot be favorable for some to watch. So please, if you can't watch them, just be aware that some of the images might be disturbing. So after this interlude, we'll move now to the next presentation. So please, let me just share it now.
I am who I am because I value my past. The memories of yesterday can never be changed, but they give me a reason to live again. There is a reason I am here today, but there is no reason you lost your lives. You were called abusive names, deprived of rights to be humans, slayed because of who you were born. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war, there should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. I was young, I still needed you, but you were taken away from me too soon. If I had one wish, it would be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down on us. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. There should be no war, there should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again, never again to genocide. Let's say never again, never again to genocide. I am a witness that if you and I come together as one, we can make sure genocide never happens again. History should be told and passed on to further generations. Let's all stand up and all sing out, never again to genocide. Let's say never again,
So, my people, those are images of our brothers, our sisters, our children. Really has hard to watch. And yeah, really despicable. So after that piece, because of time constraint, we will just move to listen to our brother, Chief Asaba, who is going to make his presentation on the importance of commemoration. So I will hand over the mic to Chief Asaba. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Chairman Nda Achu Babareko. Yes, I greet everyone present here today. I salute all those who are watching us on this program. I thank the Southern Cameroons International Town Hall for being there for our people, and then because we know very well that when we cannot just sit in silence and let this thing go. Yes, the Southern Cameroons International Town Hall is there to educate our people, and I thank you for the job you've done. I thank all the four speakers before me, Dr. Mufo, Ma Colette, for yes, yeah. I mean, thank you so much for that tribute. And then really listing, even not all the names of those who met, who were massacred at Ngarbuh on the 14th of February 2020. A lot has been said. Dr. Mufo said, listed the 10, the precursors of genocide. And I do not want to take much of the time because I just want us to know that we cannot run away from our people who have been massacred, who have paid the ultimate price. And then we have to use, we want to commemorate and honor Ngarbuh just because it is customary for the people of Southern Cameroons and Bazonia to do so. I will be very brief, not long on this, but just to talk about the importance of commemoration and remembering. Because my colleague said that one of even the largest calamities that can happen to us right now as Ambazonian is when we forget our people, So I would just want to highlight that that by honoring and commemorating our people, those who have paid the optimum price is just what we have to do. Because if we do not do so, in my opinion, there would actually be no reason for us to fight the Ambazonian revolution. So commemorating and remembering is not just something that we are not aware of, but it is part of our social cultural context as the people of Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia. I just want to remind us here that these people who were massacred at Ngarbuh on that ill-fated day, 14th February 2020, on Valentine's Day, this not happened to them because of their liking. It was not a natural disaster like that one we know. But then all natural disasters or calamities, when they befall people, there are certain rituals that we perform, we commemorate, we pay libations, etc., etc. I just want to also draw the attention of our people because I had the opportunity to listen to Professor Wole Soyinka at an event at Eineveld House in Munich, while he was reading from his book, The Burden of Memory. And he said that, I'm just paraphrasing, that when we are visited by atrocities like natural disasters and other calamities thought to be detrimental to our people, we have to pay libation. We have to commemorate. There are certain things that we have to do. And it is our duty as Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians to honor, to commemorate, and to remember our people. And we are using the 14th of February just as a symbol to remember all other people who have been slaughtered and who have been slain, murdered, and buried, some even buried alive. Historically, when I listened to Ma Colette, she said that we are our own rescuers. So it means that we have to tell our story. And if you were attentive, you will then see that that last point that Dr. Mufo said was denial. And this is what French Cameroon has done all this while, not just since the Ambazonian Revolution, but they have done this through, the past 60-something years and over. That just culminated in that disaster and many more, that way before Ngarbuh on that 14th February at dawn. The people at Ngarbuh, they did not receive any Valentine's Day present, and they will not receive any in future. So it is our duty as Ambazonian people to commemorate symbolically, not just those who were slain at Ngarbuh by soldiers sent by French Cameroon, accompanied by Fulani militias. Historically, we know that until the lions have their own historians, the story about hunting will always be for the glorification of the hunter. This has been said, and it cannot be repeated enough. Today, in the 21st century, not much has changed despite the internet and Android. We are all aware that La République, French Cameroon, in order to hide, because they thought they could hide, and sometimes they even do these things in broad daylight because they think that they are above God. So they can destroy, they can kill Ambazonian people and walk away with impunity. They cut the internet in order to continue to massacre our people in darkness, but this did not help them. Throughout history, it has been an inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that has made it possible for evil to prevail. I'm quoting His Imperial Majesty, Emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie. If the others are silent, as we are very much aware of, if the international community is silent, if the United Nations is silent, we, the Ambazonian, we don't have to be silent. We pledge our loyalty also to commemorate all our fallen heroes. We must keep on telling our own story because we are left on our own. Remember, we have to tell our story. We have to commemorate and we have to honor our fallen heroes. This is what we as Ambazonian people, we have to keep in mind because nobody is going to do this for us. Just one last point that I want to talk here is for us to use commemoration, remembering, and the memory as a weapon. I want to remind us to draw our attention that we should use commemoration and memory, not as a burden, but as a weapon. Because I know while I was reading through it, I got this, that during the apartheid, while the South Africans were battling it out with apartheid, they decided to use memory as a weapon. Memory as a weapon was coined during the apartheid era in South Africa, as activists would quote these words as their comrades were murdered and detained. And we should use also this commemorating as a tool for civil disobedience, because it is customary for us as Southern Cameroonians and Bazonians to express ourselves. And especially, I want to remind us that we should all use the 14th of February from today henceforth as a day of commemoration, remembering and honoring our fallen heroes. Thank you for your attention and for listening.
Thank you so much, Chibasaba, for that presentation on the reasons why we should commemorate taking Ngarbuh as the hallmark of genocide that has happened in our motherland. Very, very true. May I just ask Mr. Moderator, I don't know how much time we have, but I think because one of our comrades just joined us, who maybe was supposed to talk about one point. So if we have more time, it'll be good. Maybe we can go on that. Is it okay?
Yes, you have as much time as you need. This is very important, and this is our main highlight for the day. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So my brother Chibasaba just mentioned the importance of commemoration, and that's very true. In line with what Mrs. Colette Coty also said, that the greatest calamity that face humans is forgetfulness. Is forgetfulness. If we forget about our people, if we do not come and organize such events where we pay tribute to our people, we show the value they have, and we look at ourselves and reflect on the circumstances under which they had to make their transition. It is very important for us that we take this as a responsibility, because that would also shape us, the way we think, the way we move ahead. Because if we forget our past, we may make the same mistakes as we go ahead. So that is very important that we do such commemorations. We know there are other communities or other a group of people who will do such commemorations. We know about the Holocaust of the Jewish people. I'm very sure they do it. They do make commemorations to keep on to transfer that information from generation to generation. So that's just what Chibasaba tried to, has really made it clear to us that it's very, very important that we take Ngarbuh as a point and then include all the other genocides that have taken place. We have lost so many of our loved ones. Some many is in mass graves, many unaccounted for. It is our responsibilities. And we say, may their souls rest in power. One of our brothers, Chief Dr. Jibamu, just joined us. So I'm sure he will be ready to take on the next point, which was supposed to be the consequences of the genocide. So I will just hand over the word to him so that he can expatiate on that. Dr. Jibamu, welcome. I know you had something to do, but we are grateful that you still made it to the program. So
thank you, Chairman, and greetings to everybody watching us tonight and everywhere around the world. We have heard from the previous speakers about genocide, especially the presentation from Dr. Mofo. Genocide is not something that just happens from one day to another. It is a planned, systematic killing to exterminate a people just because of who they are. The killings in Ngarbuh were not just a coincidence. They were part of a planned, systematic to exterminate the people of the former British Southern Cameroons. And that was not the end, as we still saw after that event. A lot of other genocides have taken place. Ukumba, school shooting, the Mautu killing, the Ekondo Titi, and so on, and many which we cannot count because this is taking place daily. We saw from Dr. Mofo's presentation about the genocide in Rwanda. In that one, about 1 million people were killed in 100 days. That is an average of 10,000 people per day. So that was able to create international attention because of this mass killing. In the Southern Cameroons, the genocidal government of Cameroon has been killing our people systematically since the 1st of October 1961, we joined them. Our people have been systematically eliminated, one after the other, on a small scale, and nobody actually notices it. And nobody can go out to cry that there is a genocide taking place. But indeed, it is a genocide which is planned, as documented by exchanges from the embassy of the French embassy in Cameroon in those days, that this thing was planned to be executed systematically. So a genocide does not only take place like that, it is facilitated by those who have the possibilities to stop it, and they refuse to do it because they don't see their interest in danger. In the case of Rwanda, the United Nations was aware of everything that was going on. They simply were supporting the government, and with France in supporting the ruling government of Juvenal Habyarimana. So Rwanda had a representative at the Security Council, so nobody could believe that this government, with a representative among them, could be perpetrating genocide. Today, Cameroon is represented at the UN Human Rights Commission. So if you want to bring out any human rights issues, Cameroon government is there, and they will simply say it's not true, and they will continue their genocide. One thing about genocide is those perpetrating the genocides, they present themselves as the victims so that they can continue to enjoy international support. In the case of Southern Cameroons today, we have the case, they say there is Boko Haram. They would like to use this as camouflage to have more weapons to exterminate our people. Another aspect is they use militia men. In the case of Rwanda, they use the Interahamwe because the government has to remain with a good face, and then these people do the dirty job behind them. and the government continued with their diplomacy. We saw that in the case of Ngarbuh, they came also with the Bororo militiamen to camouflage all these things. So these are typical ways that the genocide perpetrators use. So 3 years down the line, since Ngarbuh, we have not seen any justice for the victims. Even though we heard that some 3 soldiers were accused, but were being investigated till today, no justice has been rendered to the victims. The international community, they asked the Cameroon government to investigate their crime, which is a farce because you cannot go and investigate your own crime. They know what they are doing. It shows that Ambazonian lives, they don't matter at all. We've seen cases of our people murdered, like journalist Samuel Wazezi, who was murdered and his corpse disappeared. Nothing happened. We saw recently one of their journalists, Martinez Zongo, also brutally killed. And there was national and international outcry. And we have seen investigations have been taking place with some people being arrested. But if it is a Southern Cameroonian, this is not an issue because the Cameroon government, the genocidal government, they have tried to dehumanize us. We are only animals. And when animals are killed, there is no need to carry out an investigation. So at this point, we can only call on the international community to rise above lip services and see to it that there is a genocide ongoing in Ambazonia. Even though the killing intensity is not the type of Rwanda, it is there, and we are seeing it. And they should evoke the responsibility to protect, come in and stop this genocide in Ambazonia now. They should not wait until every Ambazonian has been murdered before they come in to say, oh, we did not know there was a genocide going on here, as they did in Rwanda. We can see also that the very France that was supporting the government of Rwanda to execute this genocide, at this moment have appointed a military general as their ambassador to Cameroon, possibly to supervise, to finish this genocide which they have started. So the signs are very clear. And we, the Ambazonian people, we have to know what is going on, stand together and defend ourselves if the international community is not ready to come to our assistance, because we are left on our own and we are being killed every day. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jibamum, for that presentation on the causes. Quite very true. We have all seen the consequences of the genocide in our homeland. We have thousands of our people that are now internally displaced. We have hundreds of thousands that are refugees. We have our people that have just left and not knowing where they're going to. Our people are in trauma. So the consequence of the genocide is really of monumental disaster. One other thing that this genocide in our homeland has also exposed is the double standards of the international community. If villages were burned somewhere in Europe, in a village in Europe, or on the outskirts of London, I'm sure it will be everywhere in the media. But we have seen that what is happening in Amazonia has really exposed these double standards of the international community. We saw what happened in Ukraine, how the world responded and rushed in to rescue the people of Ukraine. Is the world not telling us that we are not humans or we are lesser humans? All these are very symbolic to us as Amazonians, that we have to stay stronger. We have to tell our story. We have to hold them accountable, because the government of République du Cameroun, the perpetrators, the beast from the east, seem to be going with impunity for all the heinous crimes, for the massacre that have committed in our homeland. This is a sign for us that we have to be committed. We have to be united in purpose to make sure that our people get the justice, to make sure that Amazonia comes to be a reality. So there's just so much that we can't contain, but I'm very sure that we all know that with our resilience, with our resolve, we are going to reach Boya, because the blood of all the slain, the blood of all our fallen ones shall never go in vain. And we say, may their souls rest in power. We will continue with the interactions. And at this point, I would like to share the last song, the interlude for us. And after that, we would go to interactions and then we close our presentation. So please permit me share this last song, and I will also advise viewers' discretion also is advised.
Wait, bro, before you share, please, before we conclude, since Takumbeng also was having similar thing,
okay,
so that when we conclude, maybe you share the video, the interlude, and then since Mami For is still in the house,
yeah,
we can come in and then we conclude. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just suggesting. I don't know.
Yes, actually, we after this piece, we can interact together. That's actually the plan. We are not closing down. We're sharing this last song. After that, we can go ahead to interact on this topic. Is that okay?
What I actually meant was that Takumbeng had to do some small presentation too.
Okay, are you saying that we shouldn't share the song now? Or
no, we should share it,
yeah,
but before the interaction, so that when we are interacting, then the whole program is closed, so that we don't interact and then come back to Takumbeng. You understand me?
Okay, I'm sure we're still in the house. All right, then I'll go ahead to share this.
Yes, first the music. Yeah.
All right.
Wengine walia kulala, wengine walia kulala.
Tazame mimi yatima, baba na mama wameniacha. Walipokuwepo nilithaminiwa sana, lakini kwa sasa thamani yangu haipo tena. Nisaidie Yesu, sina kwa kwenda, wewe ndio kimbilio. Kwa nini mimi? Kwa nini mimi niitwe yatima?
Yeah. Thank you. We were supposed to go into the for the interactions, but let me just end here by reading out this poem to you. Or we marched with branches peacefully, and we were shot and killed. They razed our houses, rape our women. How can we be still? They brutalized our lawyers when they stood for justice, rose and spoke up. The teachers rose and stood their ground, and people came for backup. Family forced to leave their homes, compelled to live in jungles, paying the price for breaking shackles. Young mothers giving birth to children in the midst of tigers. Grandmothers digging graves, mothers, sons, and fathers gone. With guns they had the guts to rob. Our women robbed in mud. Right from the back with rubber guns, to the front with guns. An evolution from the coffin revolution zone is on. Revolutionaries do not let their own to rot in jail. We got the wheels and made the way. We know from where we hail. 2 cubes of sugar turn to diamonds. Amber can't dissolve. The source of freedom is the mind, the seed and fruit of our resolve. Why do we always have to fight and die for what is ours? Why did Pat Tangam have to die? Seek and change for better. So, my dear people, my fellow comrades, this is what we are faced with. I wish that we all get the courage, we all fortify our resolve to make sure that we complete this journey. We have lost our loved ones on this journey. We have gone a long way, and we may still have a very long way to go. So we need each other. We have to be each other's keeper as we continue on the journey to make sure that the blood of all our fallen ones shall not go in vain. We thank you all for listening. Once more, we thank Town Hall for giving us this audience. We do it for our people. We do it for Ambazonia. I'm sure we will still going to interact more on this, but I think officially this is where our presentation was supposed to end, and we're supposed to go now into interactions and remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, SCA-Germany. I hope you would hang around. We just want to get a word in from our mothers, and then we will continue with the interaction phase of your program, if you don't mind. So please just allow our mothers also have a word in, and then we'll come back to the interactions. So we will call, I will call on Takumbang if they are ready, Manfo. Mama, if you do for place where you fit, turn on your camera.
I go start, then Mama go close them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Mm-hmm. 1 minute. Ja, ich gebe dir. Ich bin jetzt in Gespräch. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry for the interruption. First of all, before Mama comes, Mama is going to just express the feeling of mothers how this affect them, especially when things like this happen. So before she comes, I would like to remind us what Takumbeng really is. I don't think Takumbeng is actually attached to any one group. Takumbeng is a concept. Takumbeng is a traditional entitlement for every mother. And we try to organize ourselves in the diaspora so that we can try to put some pressure on the international community using the feminist approach of how about conflicts, or to call attention to the conflict. So our Takumbeng title here, of course, normally I will not be right to be a Takumbeng, but we use that as a symbol that the women who give birth to children are mostly always affected when things like this happen. And also that every woman in this forum now should consider themselves a Takumbeng. And that is the new approach we are trying, because so far we have been approaching the Takumbeng in diaspora as if it is a thing of a particular group. No, it is a traditional concept. It is normally a pressure, like how can I call it? A traditional pressure group for women to also try to exercise, to bring things, to make things clear, and they use all kinds of means we all know to make things, to put things in front, put the killing of the children in front, to put what the girl child and women experience during war on the forefront, and to use that as a pressure to call attention and to try to bring an end to what is going through. What we are going through, or what we are experiencing. So every woman that is here today, please, maybe in the future, we are going to be carrying out more campaigns that women should champion, and it will be very good that everyone participate without thinking that I'm part of Takumbeng or I'm not part of Takumbeng. Takumbeng is a concept, and it's all of us involved. So thank you so much. Let Mama speak.
Is Mama there? Mama, for you did it?
A day.
Okay.
Okay, I know we know how to talk, but my sense. Okay.
You will turn on camera, or maybe I put something else.
No put camera.
Okay.
Okay. I just move away from the TV. Okay. We did today for commemorate with people them where they don't lose their lives during this period where we fight for we independence. As a mother, every woman, if they ever get the desire for be a mother, when any woman is conceived during the 9 months where they carry the pregnancy, they think of the future of a pikin. And by the grace of God, when he finally bring forth that pikin into this world, we as women, we always say the pikin pina, our bundle of joy. Our bundle of joy, how? When you look at that pikin, when you nurse that pikin for growth, you would think of where that pikin it go become. You would look at the days ahead when that pikin it go be now that support where you get for lean on during your old age. But when all of a sudden, from nowhere, this life, it be cut short. You do look at your sisters as your brothers, as their lives, they be cut short. From any mother, it be like say, you don't take that mother, you put them in the middle of a desert or in the middle of an ocean, where you look around, you only see as water they pass. You know who side for go at that particular moment. I think now so we Amazonian mama them, they did look at Weti, where La République did do for we. It be like dashing our hopes, inflicting everlasting pain on us. But the most painful part, now say when we look around and we ask the question, what have we done wrong? What have we done wrong? You know to see the reason. You know to see the fault where you don't commit them for deserve this type of pain, for deserve this type of humiliation. Even to the extent where after killing your own, they don't even give you the opportunity for bury them. They burn, they mutilate. And also the pain, now pain where we all mammy them, we feel them. All we people them, we feel them. But what, the question is, what do we do? What do we go do? As we do mourn this with the kingdom, as we do remember our family members, where their lives don't be cut short for no offense that they have committed, for merely asking for what belongs to them. I would like to say, maybe we begin to ask the question, with all this, what do we do? What can we do to stop, to minimize all this pain? As an earlier person we talk, the solution, it no go come from any other place. It will only come from us. It will only come from us. We could just swallow that pain. She don't begin to wait for the next person. What do we go do for reduce, for stop all this pain? My brothers and sisters, it's not easy, but what you have to talk and say, we get for food and kanda for we belly. We get for make sacrifices. What will be the sacrifices what we gonna make? Today we don't get a lot of education. Which way we know be know. May we give ourselves the opportunity for know. All these talks where they give we, make the dinner a source of information for see how you fit as an individual, as a collective group, make things better for our people. My people here will begin and say, make no Amazonian. You don't for day. Begin to say, after all, my family, be affected. We don't know who will be the next. When we look at the picture of this Ngarbuh picking them, when they go for bed that night, there no be no. Say tomorrow, the next morning, there will be a charcoal, killed and burnt. So even if you have not been directly affected today, know that tomorrow can be your own turn. So what should we do? We get to be one another skipper. We get to be one another skipper. And those of us where we think, say we fit line up or we fit connive with La République for kill with fellow people. No. Say next time they will be at your own doorsteps. They will be for your doorsteps. So may we be careful. At the praise, may we line up, may we tie up with we own. Because not only we own, this sorry we. La République no go sorry you when their time come for you. They no go be sorry for you. For those of us where we day for day, the only try for even kill or more of we own. When I say kill, there are many ways where you kill person. You not necessarily need for take gun, for take knife, for kill person. We the kill we own psychologically with weighty, where you come out for we mouths. My appeal, it be say, make it not be tomorrow. You begin regret. Say this thing where I be top. Now you cause my brother, my sister for die. And then lastly, no person no get more than enough for himself. We know, say talking will not do anything. The firepower for ground, now the thing where it go help we own for survive. Many of our children, they don't sacrifice their lives, but they don't fight with bare hands. So now we responsibility for sacrifice some of our resources, for empower these boys where they don't sacrifice their lives, for do where they fit do, where some of us we not fit do. If we fall with hands, we should not. We are not doing anything good. We are not remembering all these our people who have been massacred in all parts of our territory. Make no man not talk say, no way for do. Everybody has a little thing to do. One person will not do it until we rise up together, put in with little bits. We not gonna succeed. So my appeal, I say, as we mourn, we beloved, make we look ahead. What do we do to reduce or even stop the killing of our people? Now for put we resources together, make our defense stronger so that as those where they talk to the international community. Those where they sacrifice their lives, they go there for back. They defend our defenseless people. So now the only appeal that as mommy, it be painful. Many of we mommy then day today, when they go for bed, they are crying and only say, if I die today, who go bury me? Because the people where they be to look upon, say they will fit bury them, they no day again. They don't go ahead of them. Today, when you hear, say a mommy die, and he get a pikin for bury ye, you say, hallelujah, thanks to God. Not be so God be create the world, say make the world be. God be create we in generations, so that the younger generations, they will take care of the older generations and make it continue so. Now, with the face, now the reverse. It's unfortunate, but it has already befallen us. We no go fool with arms, the watch. We get for wake up from we sleep. Thank you now.
Thank you very much, Mama. Well said and very much needed for what you would try to achieve today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mama. You talk very well. Thank you so much. I hope they go resonate and stay with we. At the end of this broadcast, we go share this message again. We go share this broadcast. We go actually edit them into parts and share them so that people will really watch this commemoration of Ngarbuh and hear the words of wisdom. So I go call on SCA-Germany if they want to coordinate the interactive. I will just remind those them where they want to say something, say raise your hand, and the chairman of the SCA go call on people them for speak. Over to you, SCA.
Thank you so much, Comrade Atomuchua. I will thank Mama Midem, my sister them for that presentation. You know, we're there for the same reason. You know, we're there for our people because we value them. We value them the way we value ourselves. If we not feel, remember our people them, if we not give our people the value, it means that we say we not get value. All we're picking them for down, when Mami was part of the way they don't pass away, we not see the being a part of us. And even though they're there for the spiritual well now, maybe we not see the bit connected to us in our DNA. So any respect we have for them, I think say it also not a good thing for we for do. May they continue for the inspire we, may they continue for motivate we, because we know the reason for which they fall. And we not stop this journey, we will not achieve that reason. It means we don't fail them. As we sing up our anthem, say, allegiance to the heroes who bore the land with their blood. So our allegiance be to them. We not feel let them down. The day they watch we, they see what we will do. So we value our people, we value our culture, we value our nation. So this journey will do on top now way and no return. And we must reach our destination. So I think say all we for house, we don't listen to the points we'll talk about. We'll talk about the precursors of genocide. We talk about the genocide itself. What we talk about Ngarbuh, and my sister, Mrs. Colette, we talk about Ngarbuh, and talk about the genocide itself in general, because we never talk about Ngarbuh without talking about the other massacres, and we don't hear. Now they will go again talk about the importance of commemoration. We go into the consequences of the genocide, and now we don't have interaction. So we're going to be open for we for just the talk. I mean, talk about our people. We know what we do for cry die. We do for cry die. So this is the 3rd anniversary of the Ngarbuh Massacre, and in our mind, all the other massacres in our mind, all the victims of the genocide for our homeland, they all there for our mind, because all they be valuable, equally valuable. You know, I say we take one of the more important than others. I just saying Ngarbuh will take on like a point where we now connect all of them today. So we definitely interact. So any person where you have to talk, if you just lay hand for up, they make a comment. If you add to wait, we don't face here. Okay, man, I see hand for up.
Man, I suppose physical hand. But I will
Yeah,
advise
because no
others.
fit touch hand. No fit put my hand.
No, it's okay. I just want to make a comment for others and say, to make it easy on the moderator, please use that feature if you can.
Yes, please just raise your hands, then I would call you up. But Manasta, I saw your hand. Go ahead.
Yes. I will go on the part of the consequences of the genocide. Somebody make mention on the chat, say one thing this thing will really cause now the trauma it is for our community, and they already go on. Even some of the crimes where some Amber man or say some of our picking them they commit them. It not get much to do with whether they are criminals or what. Is also a kind of result of the traumatic experience where they go. It's a reaction of the trauma where they don't experience them. So what will La République they actually do for we is not only the killing and reducing our population, it's also destroying our community. And even if you look at the way we work now, we are all very tensed. We not underestimate the intoxication way it is into our system by watching this every day, going through this every day. And I think, say, as much as we can analyze and talk, time don't reach more, start really get concrete action points, not be only for try for see for go for international community for see how we fit stop this thing, but also how we can help ourselves keep going, managing it. So we don't get a lot of conferences about several things, but we never ever really get a conference on like how my sister Colette started it with the aspect of love, the aspect of empathy, the things and we don't already lose them because of this our struggle, and especially because of differences. You know, having differences with people no means you hate them. So all of this thing, all of this negativity, they weaken us so much so that we know would it be like we are in a state of we not move, we not do anything. We just be the word need coming like you are like under a state where you can't react. You know, we are just stuck in certain situations, and we repeat our activities. We repeat the same activities, really, because it's like we are unable to become more creative, and this creativity to be missing because of all these things that we experience. So wait, when me I go at na say before we come out today, we'll do talk about one concrete thing. I don't get them exactly. One concrete thing we will do for make sure say we no can she done again next year, cry gabu, but push this our struggle to something else. I remember saying Namibia, when they beget their own, they no be need for kill 1 million people before the international community come in. They no be even win the war before something happen. So what can we do on our part to make sure, say, something is seen in the world, that something is going around, because the authorities, they no go do nothing. The only people they feel do something are the people of the world where they feel say this should stop. So concretely, what can we do to really raise this awareness to another level? This does not mean that we have not been doing it, but I think we are still lacking in that aspect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Manasta, for that addition. Very, very true. As we said in the beginning of the commemoration, that it is just good for us to come together and reflect on this tragic incident, which has repeated itself all over our nation. So it's not only about just coming to cry, or for us, just picturing the pain, picturing the trauma, picturing the agony that our people went through helps us, to be motivated, helps us to renew our commitment. I think it should enable us to act differently, to take a different path, to see, is there anything we can do to prevent such a thing from repeating itself? Those are the things that I think by coming together to mourn, but it also means we also have to look at the way forward. What can we do better? How can we protect our people? So I think those are the responsibilities that we have, that when we come on such occasions, we discuss about the plight of our people, we discuss about the trauma, we discuss about the consequences of the genocide. We ensure that we also have in mind what can we do differently. And I think that we are saying is one of the things that we have been doing to alert the international community, and we are all aware that they know. They are truly aware of what is happening, but we just talk about the double standards. And if we see that they are very slow to react, they cannot react in the case of Amazonia as they reacted in the case of Ukraine. We ask ourselves questions, why? Is it not because we look different? Is it not because some other powers are in play that determine the actions and reactions of the international community? Those are the things that we have to be reflecting on and thinking about it and seeing what way are we supposed to move to make sure that we force them to intervene. And they shouldn't say they're not aware of it. They shouldn't say they never knew, as was the case with Rwanda, because they said there's not going to be any excuse why the international community couldn't intervene. They are aware that our enemies, the beast, they accepted that they were involved in Ngarbuh. What is the punishment for that? Who has been held accountable for that? So was there any fact-finding mission that was sent? So it is their responsibility, because the world is now a globe, and therefore they should also be responsible for what is going on in Amazonia. So I think we shouldn't rely on our effort in doing that. Thank you so much. So we are for interactions. Is there anything we can add?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if you would permit me, because I cannot raise my hand being the host.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just like to add to what, sorry. I would like to add to what you just said. What can we do? Because one thing that has really hampered our struggle is that we no longer look at substance. We look at groups, and we look at names, and we look at faces. And if somebody says something or somebody proposes something, no matter how valuable the substance, no matter how tangible, people just don't want to react because it is coming from a group or from an individual. On a side note, I want to commend SCA-Germany for being very consistent and non-partisan and non-aligned in what you do. I think that is helping us move forward. So if our people could look at the substance of what the issue is, I think it would help us, like what we are doing about Ngarbuh, what Mamanfo has said, what all the speakers have said, and what Chief Asaba said. We have to be consistent, and we have to be conscious. I think one thing that kills us, maybe the way La République or the Europeans have manipulated us, is the short memory. Something happens to us, and after 2 weeks, 4 weeks, we forget it and move on as if nothing happened. A good example of consistency is what is happening here in the US, right? There were calls for elections to be overturned in November of 2020. The justice system has not forgotten. Until today, they are still prosecuting people who committed an offense in January of 2021. That is consistency in upholding a system. And I think we should learn from that. And when we commemorate our lost ones, we should be consistent, because at some point, people will not want to hear the story, and some people will say it's a broken record. But when you keep telling them, like the story in the Bible, the lady who kept pestering the judge, at some point, they would listen and give you what you want, if nothing else, just to get rid of you, which is what we have to do. And again, I want to thank SCA Germany I checked the calendar already based on what Chief Asaba said, and 14 February next year is a Wednesday.
Okay.
So we would, I've already booked that date in my calendar, 14 February of 2024, because I also want to practice what I'm suggesting to the House. I yield.
Thanks, Comrade Ato. That's true.
Yeah, Chairman.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Chief. I think you have an input here. Go ahead.
Yes. You know, Maanasta, thanks for kickstarting that the discussion in the House in this direction. And it's very, very important for, you know, when we come back here in a year's time, we'll commemorate, right? And but then, you know, what we have to do, and basically that is what this commemoration is about, commemorating, remembering, and honoring, is that, you know, massacres, killings, and things like that are not a beautiful sight. It's not something good to see. It's not something that we can parade the streets with for a beauty contest, you know. But what we as Ambazonian people have to know is that this thing, that the killing, the massacres, that they are killing our people, is part and parcel of us, of this revolution. We cannot run away from this, from the shadow, from this. It accompanies us, even if it means that we have to face it daily. Yes. In as much as it is so ugly, we have to face it straight on. I know very well that when we share some of these images, it's not for everyone to see. I mean, the nature of the human is that the mind and everything, the memory, they take all kinds of dimensions. But as far as when we come back here and the way forward is that I thank, because one of the things here that I ask myself many times and again is that why did it happen on the 14th of February? Could have happened like all the other massacres that have befallen us 60 years along the line. Why did this happen on the 14th? The 14th of February, my people, it's a day, Valentine's Day. And La République du Cameroun and their Fulani militia decided to use this day to rain havoc on our people. So that is a remember. I mean, if we would not, nothing will have to remind me on that particular day. I just have to, many people think about Valentine's Day because it is a happy event, right? Yes, we as humans, we have to be happy all the time. I mean, but every coin has two sides. And no one, I mean, the 14th of February, that Valentine's Day is a day that when I hear 14th February, one thing comes to mind, is the massacre of our people at Ngarbuh. I don't need, I mean, but then Maanasta and Comrade Ato, as you said, when we come back here in a year's time, each and every one of us should reflect and think, how do we do it? And Man 4, thank you so much for the input of a mother, of a Takamang, looking 100 meters again down the line. Thank you so much. So, I mean, that is, we will have to face it. It's ugly, yes, we will have to face it. Thank you.
Yes, Professor, you're right. Thank you so much for that addition. We know I always look at it like this. The most precious thing that we have as humans is our life. No degree of punishment that is given to a perpetrator can equate the life of the one that you take away. Life is priceless. Even if we have to give a death sentence to the perpetrators of the massacres, of the genocide, it will still not be enough. So it's hard for us to get justice, that we are aware, because life is priceless. So it's very important that we keep on remembering our people, because we value them, we hold them high in esteem. They are a part of us. Very true. So 1 year from now, I'm sure we have enough time to think about how we're going to do it next year. Okay, but I'm seeing a hand up from Comrade Neba. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Unmute yourself, please. Comrade Neba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would, first of all, doff my hat to SCA-Germany for doing such a neat job. I want to commend the lady whose name I could not retain for her bravery, because when she was doing her presentation, I had difficulties. And I'm sure that many other people in this room had those same difficulties, that same difficulty. It was with a lot of pain in my heart that I followed particularly that part of the presentation and the different interludes and the kind of music you chose. I want to, first of all, I really want to commend the professional manner in which you did the presentation. I think I want to evoke something that's very critical about our struggle in the light of the manner in which you have done your work this day. It is getting to time for us in this liberation struggle to realize that there are some people who are good at certain things. And that when it comes to certain things, we can confer the responsibility on those people and ask them to do it in our name. And they will do it for us as the people of Southern Cameroons. And I want to appeal very strongly today that henceforth, when we have any public show of our collective pain, let us give it to the people of SCA, because they will be able to speak for us and they will do it well. I think that even with the pain that we all experience at this material moment, we can still clap for you in our hearts because you have done justice to the people of Ngarbuh.
Go ahead, Doc. Take heart. Asha. Really, it's not easy. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Fontaine-Neba, for those remarks. And we see the emotions. It's not easy for us to sit here and watch those images. It's not easy for us to do. Seeing your loved ones being thrown into mass graves, it's not easy. It's really true that we saw how difficult it is for our sister to make that presentation as a mother. I just want to, again, throw salute to all our mothers, especially those in Ground Zero, those who have lost their loved ones, lost their husbands, lost their children, lost their babies in a terrible manner. You know, if you lose a loved one through an illness, it gives you some kind of consolation. But if you have a healthy one, just burn alive, and you find yourself helpless, do you know how much pain that causes? Do you know how much scar, what the degree of scar that is imprinted into our hearts? Sometimes it's easy for us just to watch these images. It's not a film. Those who experience these gruesome murders, these heinous crimes, are going through a traumatic situation.
If I may continue, please, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Doc.
There is, I draw inspiration from Abraham Lincoln's letter to his son's teacher, whether it actually existed or not. But I think in that letter, which I read many times in the past, he said, "Teach my son that there is no shame in tears. Teach my son that there is no shame in tears." I think that at times when you have a genuine emotion, it is good to express it. Many people have tried to control it and it is not working. That's why I think there are many people behind their cameras who cannot speak. Many people have just shut their cameras because they cannot speak. But I want to say something because of the pain that we all share. Somebody has to say it. And whether I'm going to be hated for it, I need to say it. I want to thank Ma Anasta too, because she, as a social psychologist, has never failed to always evoke this element of trauma, because it is perceptible in our community. So many people are traumatized. And it explains why many people are running away from this struggle now. Because there is nothing as bad as facing this kind of gruesome murders, mass murders, genocide. And while you expect that we will collectively face it and push back and try to bring the perpetrator to book and punish the perpetrator for assailing our people, people are instead doing a merry-go-round, trying to project themselves as leaders, as, you know, and they are not making anything in that direction. In their trauma, many people will run away, and it accounts for some of the attitudes that we see in our liberation struggle these days. So, drawing from that, I think we should also include in our town hall slots short talks on how to cope with this kind of trauma. The first time that I saw a mass murder was in my neighborhood in Bakori town. I think that every time that we have this Ngarbuh incident or this Ngarbuh burial, or we are talking about the killing of our people, it comes back fresh to my mind. I had come out of prison. That was in 2018. I was sitting in the living room with my children, and I was receiving some visitors. Then we had the burst of gun, you know, it was audibly AK-47 shots because it came in bursts in the neighborhood. And we were wondering who was shooting in the neighborhood. A few minutes later, neighbors flooded my phone with pictures of you who had just been slaughtered, about 6 of them. These young men were killed for no reason. And I remember that one day I was driving out of my neighborhood. I saw a military vehicle heading towards the area where those young men used to sit and have a nice time. And it turned out that that day they had gone to look for them. But since they did not know that they were out to kill young men for nothing, they usually continue to go to that spot. And on this fateful day, they were all slain in cold blood. I could not stand the pain. So I ran to my room where I thought I would cry away from my children. But unfortunately, there I met my wife who had received her own pictures before me and was already crying in the room. Then I knew that our people were going to have a season of tears. Please, there is a way we can hold our hands in a farandole and come to terms with what is happening. Manasta has asked a question. It is a critical question. And I like when we ask questions that evoke solutions. Number one, I would suggest that SCA, which has done an excellent job, should brace itself for another public show. Let us invite international organizations. Let us go online, get the lists, do a public show, Mr. Moderator of the Town Hall. Let us sit down and work with SCA. Let them tell us when they think it's going to be possible. Let us do a compendium of all the massacres that we can remember. And the pattern that shows explicitly that this is the handiwork of the colonizer. The explosive bullets that they used in Kumba, which are only owned by the colonizer, the villages that they have burnt, razed to the ground, and the bodies that are charred inside. And let us do an open day for our liberation struggle. And pinch somebody who is somewhere who does not necessarily, who has never lived our experience, so that they can talk to somebody who is in a position to take a decision. If we call on these people and make them to hear the cries of our people directly, and watch how our people are slain daily, then somebody will be moved to do something. There are a lot of cultural organizations out there, humanitarian organizations, human rights organizations, human rights defenders, and so on. Let us do a public, an open day. Let us think of an open day and inform them that the people of Southern Cameroons have declared Valentine's Day a memorial for the genocide of their people. After all, Valentine's Day was also declared in honor of a man who was hanged for marrying off people. Father Valentine died because he used to perform Christian marriages. And so in celebrating him, we ultimately celebrate love. And so we have also dedicated our 14th February for our people. So that is my proposal, that we transform, we create a broader picture. I think SCA has already done about more than half of the work. I'm sure that if they take a month or a month and a half or two, they can beef up the production to include other massacres. And if there are any people who have images or archival footage to support them with, we know many of the people here, so we can reach out to Ma and Nasta and she'll get to them. We can reach out to Comrade Ato and he will get to them. Let us send all these things so that we build something, because this is the face of injustice and we must not allow it to persist. Then in our community, let the death of our children, our brothers, our sisters, our parents awaken us to the reality that we are facing. And let people get off their high horses and realize that it is not at a time like this that people should be talking about governing Southern Cameroons. You cannot govern a community that is in this kind of distress. We have to free ourselves first before we think of governance. And the best way to do it is to hold our hands together, work out the problems that we are facing collectively, chart our course collectively, and face the enemy as one man. If we do not do that, then we will continue to create other days when the enemy will enter our community again and fill us with tears. I yield.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Contem, for that powerful additional contribution to this presentation. Really, you have touched, most of the things that we raised here. And like Gladys said, that was actually the idea that the Southern Cameroons community Germany had in mind, that what we are doing it for Amazonia, we are doing it for our people. And we thought taking Ngarbuh, as at a point where we can touch on all the other victims of the genocide in Amazonia. That's what we think we should do. We have various dates, various massacres, with different degrees of cruelty. But we know in every of these cases, the precious blood of our people was shed, pain and agony, trauma, and it goes on and on. So that's a good suggestion. I think SCA will be ready to work on such a project. And like we like to mention, one of the challenges is getting these archives. I think when we were making this production, we also had a difficulty like having the right pictures, having the right information, when what happened, how many victims, who was lost. Those are the things that we have to keep on working on. Since we don't have a central repository, I think every one of us should take that responsibility of archiving this very vital information, these images, no matter how gruesome they are. I personally resolved in doing this. Whenever I receive these pictures on my phone, I look for a way to put them on an external drive. After a few years, you see that we have quite a lot of information that will be useful in the future. Because after some time, if we don't do that, it disappears from the media. You are right, and we know that sometimes, not sometimes, but most of the times, it's always like the information, what is happening to our people, it's not being allowed to share the way on the media, on other medias. There's some images here you cannot see on TV. You can't see on media, on places where we know it should have been shown to show the cruelty, the inhumane nature of the République du Cameroun. But I think we have that responsibility to keep these images, no matter how gruesome they may be, very important, because they are our people, they are part of us, and we have to have this memory. As Chibasaba said, it's the dark side of it. It happened on Valentine's Day, when on the West, it was about love. And on that fateful day in Ngarbuh, it was the opposite. People who don't see us as humans, they had, to exact such despicable crimes on our people. So it is our responsibility. So I think the proposal you made was a great proposal. I'm sure SCA-Germany will be ready to work on that project. Thank you so much. So maybe I'm not seeing anyone up. Some of my comrades who were on the panel, maybe they might have to say a word too. Dr. Mofo, you just go ahead and.
Good evening once more to everyone. I think much has been said already, and I don't like to repeat things. Our community is doing its best to contribute to the struggle, and there's a lot we are trying to do. Even though you don't hear us talking out there, we believe in doing the hard work, because revolutionary things are difficult things and they are very hard things. And that's why when we are silent and quiet, it is because we concentrate on doing the hard work. So far, we have given this contribution. It is not coming only from the speakers who have spoken here today. There is a whole team of people who have sat together and who have contributed. And so we need to extend these congratulations and these thanks to others who have not spoken today, who are also members of SCA and who have been doing a marvelous job to see that our own association contributes its best to the liberation of our homeland. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's true. Our focus is our people on ground zero. Our focus is the flag. That's where our allegiance lie. So, yeah, we have courage. We are resolute. We are resilient, and we can't allow the blood of our fallen ones to go in vain. That's our responsibility as Southern Cameroonians, as Ambazonians. It is part of our culture. When there is cry die in a neighbor, in the compound, we go there to see what is happening. We mourn together, we celebrate together. We are always there for one another. And therefore, we can't let our people to continue this pain. The families who have been severely touched, let us continue to give them support. Let us continue to reach out to them, to comfort them, and really to give them the courage to know that the nation we are fighting for is going to remember all our fallen ones for the ultimate sacrifices that they have paid. They didn't commit any crime. They were just killed because they were Southern Cameroonians, they were Ambazonians. It's really sad to talk about that. So there is no hand up, I guess, in the house. So, Comrade Ato, I'm sure I could then hand over to you the discussion. Once more, I really want to thank you also, the town hall, for your consistency, for the great work you've been doing. We've always followed you. We've watched, we've participated in most of your programs. So we really want to applaud you for the great job that you are doing to shape the path of our nation, of the path that the liberation struggle is moving on, because we know Boya is our destination and we are with you. So anytime reach out to us, we are together. So I just want to applaud you again. I want to thank again my fellow comrades on the panel. Maybe Mark Colette also, maybe you can just say a closing word. Those on the panel, yeah, I'm sure it will be good to just to go that way to conclude. So Mark Colette.
Yeah.
Yeah, just say the final words. And then.
Yeah, thank you very much to everyone. Thanks for the invitation. It's overwhelming. It's a very sad event. In as much as we try to be, to suppress that human aspect of grief, we cannot hide it. So, but this grief, it should be the thing that gives us the momentum to know that we have to seek for justice. We should never let La République know we are powerless. We should never know they've inflicted so much pain that we cannot bear. We would cry, we would wipe our tears, but we will stand up and we will stand up and fight. I'm sorry to say it, I'm sometimes very blunt, but La République has to pay for it. Justice has to be served. And we have to make sure we rescue ourselves by doing justice to our fallen heroes, because the world is a fallen world and everyone is moving on. Nobody cares about us. It's about us to liberate ourselves. It's about us to free ourselves from the shackles of the oppressor. Nobody is going to come and free us. So we should keep our differences aside, because that is what is killing Southern Cameroonians. They want to be heads of governments. They are forgetting why we are fighting. We are fighting to liberate ourselves, not because we want to govern. So that is all I have to say. We should not forget why we are fighting. and we must seek justice. It must be served. Okay.
Thank you so much, Marcolette, for those final words. Shipasaba, you say what too?
Yeah, I was, thanks so much. I do not have much to say, but just to thank that we have come here today to honor these people. It is our responsibility. And Dr. Fontaine-Neba, thank you so much. You know, I mean, that input is something that I really appreciate. And the tears, you know, while I was growing up, you know, I will have to say this here before I go. My father used to tell me in my mother tongue that a man does not shed tears outwardly. But the tears you shed, they were for our people. And they are very sincere. I've shed them many times. You know, we will do that and we move on. We have to fight. We do not have a choice. Thank you so much, Town Hall, for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Dr. Jibamu, you're there? You there?
Yeah, thank you, everybody who has been part of this program today. Thank you to the panelists who spoke before. Thanks to Ma Galafo for the very nice words and Dr. Fontaine's contribution. A lot has been said that we cannot repeat here again. SCA-Germany, as you know, stands for Unity, Humanity, and Advocacy. So we are ready to work with everybody as long as it takes us in the right direction, as it takes us a step forward. So we are ready to work with everybody as long as the Ambazonian Revolution is concerned, and our stop is only when we reach Buea. So the team is there ready at any time to collaborate with any sincere project, any sincere something that will take us forward, and not politicking or looking for positions and all such things. That is not what SCA-Germany stands for. As Comrade Mutua already pointed out, we are non-aligned. We stand only for the Amazonian flag, the people, and we will do everything to defend them if it has to cost our own blood. Sometimes you see these pictures, it's just like it's just like a movie. You know, there are these wild movies, they shed a lot of cosmetic blood and so on. But what we see here is not a movie, it's real life wasted. And if we don't, we are not moved by such things, then we are no longer human. So it is our responsibility to always remember them and know that these are people who have lost their lives, not that we should play over it because we want to be leaders, we want to be this and that. These people could have also sat there and want to be leaders and so on. And nothing would move. We have people fighting and defending homeland, paying with their blood. And some people are out here joking over it, which is something that has to stop. So we have to free ourselves and free homeland, not because we want positions, but because we want this freedom, and freedom is our only goal. Thank you very much for having us here today in the town hall. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Jibamu. Dr. Mofo, maybe your closing remark too. I know you spoke before, but it was on something.
I spoke already, so
okay.
This just to thank everyone again, and thank our comrades who organized in town hall for their consistency, and then to emphasize again that our community is a community that is open to work with every Ambazonian community, every Ambazonian group, so long as we identify that their contribution is the one that takes us towards our goal. and we are, let's say, open to chances to work with different, let's say, groups. And I think a project has arisen already, and we will have to sit down in our own association and look into this and see how we can contribute. So thanks again, and to all the contributors and those who are not strong enough to contribute because of the gruesome images and the level of sadness that we all find ourselves in. That's how it is, but we have to move on. And as I said, when we had the presentation, it is upon the blood of all those who have gone before us that Ambazonia shall be liberated. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for those final words. Very, very true. Our people who have made their transition untimely because of the beast, we honor them, we revere them, we lift them up because we know it is part of us. When we honor the dead, when we pay tribute to the dead, we are paying tribute to ourselves because we recognize them as part of us. And that's what we should continue to do. So we say, may the blood of all our fallen heroes rest in power, and let the freedom of Ambazonia shower. Thank you.
So, 1 second. Okay, I just want to thank you and thank SCA. What you've done, you did this on behalf of Southern Cameroonians, and you did a marvelous job. It takes time, it takes commitment. We really appreciate it. I'm speaking not just on behalf of the Secretariat of the Town Hall, but on behalf of all Southern Cameroonians. This goes to the heart of all our people. Like I said, we would edit the video. It will be a big file, so we'll post it on Facebook, but send you the link so you could download on your end and also share on your platforms, or if you like, just share the link. We will do that today and send it out to you so that it could go further and deeper to those who didn't have the chance to be with us today for whatever other commitment they have. So we thank you. This has been the highlight, and we as the town hall, we really don't have much else to add. Anything else would take away from the focus and the seriousness of what you guys did. But we are very, very proud of SCA-Germany and what you guys do. And I sincerely say thank you on behalf of the Secretariat and the people of Southern Cameroons. And this is a platform. You're welcome anytime, any day. You, as you have said, work for the flag and the nation. And that's our priority. That's what we try to promote, in as much as other things try to seep in and take the focus away from that. So your mission is a priority to the town hall platform. Anytime, any day, with or without notice, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, too.
You're welcome.
May I just say my last word?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, yes. Yes, I think we can't really close down the meeting without emphasizing on our people on ground zero, those who are making the enormous sacrifices, especially observing the country Sundays. I think we just want to thank them so much. I'm sure they are going to listen to us. We thank them so much for the sacrifices they're making. We thank them so much for their resilience, the resistance they put on. As we all know, it's true. We in the diaspora are speaking because of them. So we want to encourage them. We are behind them 100%. We won't let them down. So we just want to really thank them, congratulate them, and also express our condolences to all those who have lost their loved ones, that we think of them and we'll always be together with them together. So as I said, I should say that enormous thanks, and then you should keep on, you should keep up, you should not give up, because we can't afford to give up this fight. Thank you.